Hello and welcome to this series of lectures on discrete time Fourier transform. In the previous lecture, we have seen what are the different types of transform depending upon different signals and where does a discrete time Fourier transform stands. So in summary, we can tell that discrete time Fourier transform is used for discrete time periodic signals, and the nature of discrete time Fourier transform is it is periodic and it is continuous. So periodic and continuous, that is the nature of discrete time Fourier transform. Now in this lecture we will see about the different properties of discrete time Fourier transform. Now these properties, whenever we study any transform, we also study its properties because properties makes our task easier. Like if there is any complex type of signal and we want to analyze the DTFT, that is discrete time Fourier transform of such signals, then the properties help us to make the complex to reduce the complexity of that numerical. So when we know that this transform is satisfying a certain property, so we can apply that property directly into that signal and get the transform. So let us start with the properties of discrete time Fourier transform. The first, we will be using this notation before going to the properties. So x of n denotes a discrete time signal. X of n denotes a discrete time signal. X e raised to j omega will be the notation which will be used for DTFT. So this is our DTFT. So DTFT will be denoted by x e raised to j omega. This is the notation. Omega is a frequency variable. Okay, and capital X is used here for denoting DTFT. The first property is a linearity property. Linearity property is for the transform. That means it satisfies the superposition principle. That is, the linear weighted sum of the inputs produce the linear weighted sum of the outputs. That is, if you are having a linear weighted sum of the inputs at the time domain, in the time domain, there will be linear weighted sum at the outputs, that is in the frequency domain. Okay, so here a1 and b1, these are constants. A1 and b1 here also, these are constants. So linearity property helps us to write this equation, where in this summation, so when we are linearly combining two different signals, so x1 of n and x2 of n, when we are combining them linearly with the help of these constants, then their output will also be a linear combination. So x1 e raised to j omega, x2 e raised to j omega, and with the constants a1 and a2. This property is easy to prove. We can write by using the definition of DTFT. We can write the formula for the first DTFT, that is x1 e raised to j omega corresponding to the signal x1 of n. Then we can have the second formula x2 e raised to j omega for corresponding to the signal x2 of n. And then we can take the Fourier transform. So Fourier transform of the linear combination, that is a x1 of n plus b x2 of b1 x2 of n. You can substitute in the summation equation. You can separate out the summations. So after separate outing the summations, we can find that this is nothing but, if you take the constant a1 outside, so this equation is nothing but x1 e raised to j omega, and this equation is nothing but x2 e raised to j omega. Hence, this satisfies the linearity property. Linear combination of the inputs is linear combination of the outputs, or linear combination of the time domain signals is the linear combination of the frequency domain signals. Next property is called as the periodicity property, where we have already talked about it in the introduction. This property states that the Fourier spectrum, that is the frequency domain spectrum of DTFT, it is periodic in nature. That is, the spectra repeats itself after an interval of 2 pi. So after an interval of 2 pi, it repeats. So k is the value, k is an integer. So you can put the value of k is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to infinity. So after an interval of 2 pi, we will get the same spectrum. So this means that it satisfies the property of periodicity. Periodic signal is a signal which repeats itself. Hence, the DTFT, the spectrum x e raised to j omega repeats itself after an interval of 2 pi. Hence, it satisfies the periodicity property. In order to prove the periodicity property, we can replace omega by omega plus 2 pi k in that equation. So after substituting this in this equation and separating out the terms, that is e raised to a plus b is nothing but e raised to a into e raised to b. So after separating out, okay, then we can use a substitution for this e raised to minus j 2 pi k n by using what we call it as a Euler's identity or Euler's formula. You can also pronounce it as Euler's. Okay, so Euler's identity says that e raised to minus j theta is cos theta minus j sin theta. Here our theta is 2 pi n k. Okay, so if you substitute here the values here 2 pi, so you will see that this cos 2 pi nk is equal to 1. Why it is equal to 1? Because cos n theta is equal to minus 1 raised to n. Okay, so depending upon this n whether it is odd or even, we will get the value as 1 or minus 1. Since here it is multiplied by 2, so this will be always even. That's why the value of cos 2 pi nk will always be equal to 1. And sine of n pi is always 0. This is what we have studied in trigonometry. Okay, so sine n pi is 0, so this term will become 0 and this term is equal to 1. That's why this term will become 1. So after substituting here in 1, we will see that this is nothing but the original equation x e raised to j omega. That means after having uh, after adding the term 2 pi k, we are getting the original term x e raised to j omega. So this shows that the signal DTFT is periodic in nature, or the spectrum DTFT is periodic. It satisfies the periodicity property. So this is the proof of the periodicity property, and you should remember the periodicity property. In simple terms, the spectra of DTFT is periodic, and it is periodic with an interval of 2 pi. That is the summary. The time shifting property states that when you shift the signal in the time domain, or this shift may be either you advance the signal or delay the signal. Normally we are showing it as a delayed signal. So whenever you delay a signal in the time domain, what happens to its frequency domain representation? That is important. Okay, we can see that the frequency domain spectra, that is x e raised to j omega, it is getting multiplied by a term e raised to minus j omega k. Now this e raised to minus j omega k, what it does is it will it will change. Okay, it will change the phase spectrum of the signal. Now every signal in the frequency domain has two spectra. One is called as the amplitude spectra and another is called as the phase spectra. So whenever we are talking about the spectrum of a signal, so whenever we talk about the spectrum, so we are concerned about two spectra. One is called as the amplitude spectra and another is called as the phase spectra. Since spectra is for the different frequency domain representations, so how the frequency components in that frequency representation, what are their magnitude representations, that is what are their magnitudes with respect to frequency, is described by amplitude spectra, and their phases with respect to frequency is defined by the phase spectra. So we see that when we are shifting the signal in the time domain, the amplitude spectra is remaining same, but the phase spectra is getting changed, because here it is getting multiplied by e raised to minus j omega k. So the time shifting property can be remembered like this. So whenever we are shifting the signal in the time domain, the frequency spectra gets altered, or there is a phase change in the phase spectra of the DTFT. In order to prove this property, we have to go with the traditional method. We have to substitute here the time shifted signal x of n minus k, and now this is the standard procedure. We make a substitution. N minus k is equal to m. After making this substitution, n minus k is equal to m, we see how the limit changes. Here the limits are n, so we will change these limits to m. So how does m change? So now when in this equation, if you see, when n is tending towards minus infinity, then our m will also change to minus infinity. And when here n is tending to infinity, m will also tend to infinity. Simply you have to put the value here. If you put n equal to infinity here, okay, you will get m is equal to infinity. So this is how we do the substitution here, limits. And then after doing the substitution here and separating out the exponential terms, we can get the result. That is, this Fourier transform of the time shifted signal is nothing but the spectra, that is x e raised to j omega multiplied by the term e raised to minus j omega k. So this shows that if a signal is delayed by k samples, okay, in this case it is delayed here because it is minus here, its magnitude spectra remains unchanged. However, its space spectra is changed by an amount of minus omega k. So this is the frequency term, that is the phase term. It is getting changed. Okay. So in this way, we can remember this property, which is an important property of time shifting. Okay. In the next lecture, we will see the remaining properties. Thank you.